The Amazon and MGM marketing team have been asked to put together a report about something very interesting regarding Stargate. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So it seems to be now the worst kept secret in Hollywood that Stargate is going to be returning. This has been actually confirmed by a couple of different sources now, even though if you're a regular SciTrekker, you heard it here first. But thanks to my sources close to MGM, I've been able to get some very, very interesting information that I'm going to be sharing with you over the next few days. First of all, this is something that I actually dropped in the live video on Wednesday night before we go into some really exclusive stuff in the next couple of videos. But that actually somebody that I know very well has access to some of the marketing and PR meetings. In those meetings last week, these teams were asked to put together a couple of reports based on some development ideas. So now, first of all, the really big interesting thing here is that it was actually something called development reports or development data they were trying to put together. Now, my sources told me this is something they do very early on in development. When there's a couple of different ideas knocking around, they want to gauge the public interest in a couple of those different ideas. Now, they have done this previously. And God knows, I think a year ago now, they put a bunch of questionnaires out via Amazon. And part of those questionnaires did ask about Stargate. They asked a lot of questions about Stargate SGU. They asked a lot about what sort of project would you want to see if Stargate were to be revived? Would you want to see a movie? Would you want to see a hard reboot? A hard reboot was actually talked about a lot in that questionnaire when they were trying to get that data. Hold on to that thinking for a second. And they actually sent these questionnaires out to thousands of Amazon customers. What do you remember about Stargate? What did you love about Stargate? What didn't you like about Stargate? Blah, blah, blah. Well, this development data is far more focused. There are actually only really 4 questions on it. And first of all, I have to say, at no point do they mention a hard reboot, which is just bliss. Because after Deadline very, very recently actually reported that, yes, there is going to be a Stargate project, and yes, it is probably going to be a movie. Lots of people picked that up, and I actually saw a story a couple of days later from Screen Rant suggesting that Roland Emmerich was finally going to be allowed to do his trilogy of movies that would have been a hard reboot. I can actually tell you that reading the story, it just sort of says that, look, they tried to do that 7 or 8 years ago, so why wouldn't they do it now? Because it's a completely different situation now, and Roland Emmerich's already pretty much said he doesn't want to do it. So we can eliminate the hard reboot as a possibility, I feel, at this point. So what were the questions? They basically wanted to judge the fans' reaction to 4 different scenarios. Them doing a TV series where at least some of the regular original cast would return. Or do we do a new television series with completely new cast, perhaps with some cameos from original cast members? Do we do a movie with the original cast? Or do we do a movie where it's all new cast, but possibly with some cameos? And they wanted to gauge the opinion from Gators on all of those different scenarios. So I thought I'd do a little bit of market research for them and ask the question first. I wanted to go at this from a slightly different angle because I've actually asked you guys lots of times over the last few months, what would you like to see when they revive the Stargate? So I took these 4 proposals and I asked you guys, what is the one you like the least? So, new series with some original cast, 29% of the votes. New series, all new cast, maybe some cameos, 23% of the votes. New movie with some original cast, 6% of the votes. New movie, all new cast, maybe some cameos, 42% of the vote. So, remembering that this is the project you like the sound of the least, 50% of the votes are actually more than are for a TV series that you actually like that idea the least, that you want a TV series with either original cast or non-original cast. That comes up to what? Just over 50% of the vote. So there's a lot of you guys out there that aren't particularly excited about a TV show. New movie with some of the original cast, 6% of the vote. Going to come back to that in a second. But a new movie with all new cast, maybe some cameos. That is the idea you like the least. And to be honest, it's the scenario that I think is probably most likely to actually happen. But 42% of you, after 545 votes, I only put it on late last night, have said, I do not want this project. We do not want a movie with all new cast. We hate that idea. But a new movie with a lot of the original cast returning. Now, this is going to be with new cast as well. It just is. They're going to want to bring in some new blood into this. That's just sensible. But with as many of the new cast returning in proper roles, returning roles, that's the important thing here. That is by far the project that scares you guys the least. Now, I know from talking to you lot over the last 12 months, most people that have come on the channel and just talked about this with me have actually said they would love to see a TV series. It's less risky than a movie, but that's what they'd love to see. When I actually first suggested that this was going to be a possibility late last year, that it looked like Amazon would seriously consider a movie, then actually, to be honest, the reaction to that was, oh God, no, why would you do that to us? But you guys seem to have come around to that thinking and got used to the idea of actually now it being a movie. So a big cinematic release with some of the cast, like Michael Shanks, Amanda Tapping, Richard Dean Anderson, returning. Now that would be exciting. And I have some more information about that, but it's going to be in the next video. But guys, I'd love to know exactly what you think about this proposal. There's 4 of them. Which is the one you like most? But I'd love to know a little bit more information about what you're thinking. If you're thinking that a movie actually is the best way to go with this, but you must have some of those actors return, which ones would you pick? Now, I know this is a dream scenario where you'd want everybody, but you can't because, we're not going to spoil you like that. Amazon aren't going to be that sweet. So who would you pick? Who are the actors that are a must? I'd love to know what you think. Get into the comments. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. You know what to do. Hit all those buttons. But please, guys, most importantly, as always, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.